Shall we begin? Let's begin.
Welcome to another Create Your New Life. I am your host, broker, CEO, Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Excited to be here on this Tuesday, October 4th session of our Create Your New Life. Welcome. I know we took the week off last week because I was actually on a podcast. But this week we're going to pick back up where we stopped, which is the 10-part series that we're doing where we're looking at social media and we're looking at how do you put together a strong, solid social media presence, taking examples and models of a social media guru, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. And today we're going to be talking about item number 17 and item number 18 of this 274-page deck that he launched. We're dissecting it and we're going through it. So today is session number 8. We're going to be talking about 2 P's that can help you take your social media strategy to the next level. So excited to be here today. Now, as always, we want to say thank you for visiting us, whether you're checking us out on our YouTube channel or somebody forwarded you the link to this video. I want to say thank you for taking your time to check it out. Our Create Your New Lives are an opportunity to hear about what we're doing as an organization, what Brooks & Davis is doing as an organization, as well as an opportunity for you to get some information and some substance that can help take your real estate business to the next level with the content and the substance that we discuss on a weekly basis. So now, as you listen to us, you hear some things that really stand out to you, and maybe you're at a brokerage, you're not in the right environment that you would rather be in, and something really stands out, you're going to get an opportunity. There's going to be a link that I'm going to show, and you'll get an opportunity to set up a company introduction to learn more about what we have to offer. All right, so let's jump into this thing. I always start off by giving everyone an opportunity to see where they can follow us. So whether you're a Brooks & Davis agent or not, our social media platforms are a great way to stay connected with us. I highly encourage the Brooks & Davis YouTube channel. We typically post videos 2 to 3 times a week between YouTube and our business Facebook page. So those are great places to go, again, to get an inside look of what we have going on, as well as to connect with myself and other team members of the organization. And look, you can see these Create Your New Lives. We put those on there on a weekly basis. Every Wednesday we drop those. We have our Mastermind Through Tough Times, which we do on our business Facebook page on Tuesdays. And we also put the broadcast for our Mastermind on our YouTube channel as well. So those are the great places to go. Now, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I post content on those platforms as well. So I guess to make a long story short, social media is a great way to stay connected. So subscribe, like, follow, learn, and share. I mentioned about having a link that you can go to schedule an online or in-person company introduction so you can learn a little bit more about what makes us one of the best brokerage firms in our Metroplex. So here's that link. Again, if you feel like you're stagnant or you're plateauing in your real estate business, or maybe you don't even feel like you're taking off, right? And you want to hear a little bit more of some additional options that you may can exercise, then go ahead and click on that link, schedule an online or in-person company introduction so you can learn more about what we have to offer. All right, final thing is, we have a providership. So through our Brooks & Davis Real Estate Continuing Education Institute, we have an opportunity where we give our agents hour of continuing education elective credit as they participate in Create Your New Life every week. So all they have to do is follow the 4 bullet points, and once they do that, boom, They get that hour and they are ready to go. All right, so let's jump into today's topic. So like I said, we're going to be looking at 2 more items as it relates to the Gary V 274-page deck. And there are 2 social media, areas that he discusses. One has to deal with polls and one has to deal with podcasts. And he talks about how he utilizes those to enhance and grow his social media strategy. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to look at what's important about exceeding expectations of multiple people when practicing real estate. And also we're going to expose to you guys a great Brooks & Davis resource that allows our agent members to never be on their own in this real estate business. So the quote that I sent out with our marketing and the things that, as we promote and push our Create Your New Life, the quote that I had connected is a quote from This Is JK. Old ways don't open up new doors, right? And, think about it. Old ways don't open up new doors. If you're going to always remain committed to doing things that haven't worked for you in the past, then guess what? You're going to continue to get the results that you've always gotten in the past. We don't do wishful thinking, right? You got to be intentional and you got to be clear on exactly what it is that you're looking to achieve. So if you want to open up a new door, like if you want to open up a new opportunity for yourself, then you're going to have to do something different. And if you don't position yourself or put yourself in a situation to where you can do something different, then don't expect a different result. So I love the way that they packaged it in this quote. And again, shout out to This Is JK. This is JK.com, and JK is JAKY. So this is JAKY.com, where I got this quote from. Old ways don't open up new doors. Boom. That's the reality of it all. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take our 60 minutes in the core. As we prepare for that, I want you to understand that Brooks & Davis has a core ideology that's made up of 3 components. The first component is our core goal, and that's what we look to do achieve as an organization. Our big, hairy, audacious goal that we want to accomplish, you see that through our core goal. And then we go into our core mission, what we look to achieve every day as we execute and as we walk this thing out on our way, on our journey to achieve this massive goal that we've set for the organization. And then we have our 5 values. So this is the way that we're going to live. This is the way that we're going to operate and approach through these 5 values. And the one that we want to highlight today is exceed the expectations of our clients, customers, and colleagues. So as Brooks & Davis real estate agents, one of the things that is extremely imperative or important to us is how we handle those that we are a party to the transaction with, right? So as we approach everything that we do, when we go out and to be an example, to be a model to this industry, we don't want to just satisfy or offer to people what they expect. We want to go past what they thought they were going to be receiving. So that's why we're here to exceed the expectations and exceed those expectations of not just our clients, but we want to exceed the expectations of everybody. So that includes our clients, that includes our colleagues, and that includes our customers. And as you approach your business that way, mentally as you approach your business that way, to the point to where you're going to be that impactful to that amount of people, the marketplace pays great when your level of value is that large. So if that's what you want, if you want to be paid great, then you have to be able to impact people at a greater level. So that's why we're always focused on not just satisfying expectations, but exceeding them. So shout out to one of our core values as it relates to the Brooks and Davis core ideology. All right, so with that being said, let me jump into what we typically go through next. All right, so now what we usually go to is that we jump into some production. So let me see, let me get that queued up. So we're going to jump into some production, check out some production numbers to see how we performed over the week, y'all. And something tells me that we might have did all right. But let me get my slide queued up, load up. And, you know, as I'm getting it ready, again, I want everybody to understand is money being made out here in these coronavirus streets. COVID-19 ain't stopping realtors from getting stuff under contract. And as we see it on a consistent basis at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, people are closing deals, people getting paid, and people adding new production constantly. So don't allow that to be an excuse on why you may not be performing in your business right now. Don't sit back on the false narrative that there's something going on as it relates to this pandemic, there's something going on as it relates to the economic environment and people losing their job or a level of uncertainty as it relates to their job. The reality is that the market is not reacting in that way. So don't sit on it, don't look at it. So boom, here we go. Right, you know, we're a little under 7 million is where we are as far as the level of production that we are maintaining. As you can see, we've added, I mean, that looks like a little over $500,000 worth of production that we've added over the last week. So there's money constantly flowing in, and that's as it relates to money closing out and deals closing out. Like, people are still closing deals. People still, you know, there's plenty commission checks coming in through this office. So, you know, on top of the $216,000 worth of commissions that's in the pot, it's constantly flowing. So you got to put yourself in the flow. You got to put yourself in the middle of the flow coming. If you're on the outside, you're outside the vortex, and you're not experiencing that flow, then you need to call me. And if you're with Brooks and Davis, then we need to set that coaching session up, right? We need to get on the phone. We need to get in person, and we need to get things aligned. And if you're not a member of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, then you need to go to that link, and you need to schedule a so you can learn and you can hear about getting you on track to where you can feel that flow, right? Because it's flowing. The vortex is open. People are doing deals. Our realtors are getting paid. You can too. So let's keep cranking it out, man. You know, every week I go through these numbers. We're hitting, you know, historical marks as it relates to our organization. Shout out to our top three. You know, Chica Moma got into that top three as, again, stuff comes on board. You know, she pumped in a couple of transactions over the week, and it shot her up to the number 2. So congratulations to Kendra. Kendra Wheaton's not slowing down. Chica Moma, and my favorite agent, I know she's my favorite, Ms. LaQuanta Davis, is rounding out the 3. So congratulations, ladies, as it relates to you all being the top producing agents that are with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. Now, we have had a couple of agents that have come through us. I'm going to give them a shout out next week. Because when I do these shout outs, I like to send the information out so, you know, they can log on and they can be on with us when we give them a shout out. So we're even bringing in new agents. We're recruiting. It's an exciting time right now to get into real estate and to perform and operate in real estate. So, all right, but yeah, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going, fam. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at before we jump into our session for today has to do with our proprietary programming. So, you know, we are very proud of the level of innovation that we bring to the table as it relates to, you know, what we provide to our agent members. So, every week we show our collage of all these activities or these programs that our agents can take advantage of. And then every week we highlight one of them so people can see the things that we offer and the things that our agent members, because we did a survey and we took a poll to get an idea of what were the activities or what were the items that we offered that our agents were taking most advantage of. So the one that I want to show you today is our agent hotline. I've subscribed to the philosophy that when, especially a brand new agent, so I'll speak from that perspective. When a brand new agent gets into the real estate business, they lack the confidence that's required for them to take off. Real estate is a confidence business. When you feel confident in what you're saying and what you're capable of doing, and that's when you're willing to apply yourself at the level that you need to be applied in real estate. Because when you first get in real estate, if you're going to jumpstart your business, it's all about activity. Those people that get into this business and they put in the most activity up front, those are the ones that end up having the better results. It's all about activity. But now here's the reality. What is stopping most agents from being able to apply the level of activity that is required to take them to that other level? Well, the reality is their lack of confidence, because they're apprehensive. They're afraid to make a mistake, get in trouble, right? They're afraid to, and look, the reality is that when you go to these real estate schools, they scare you so much that with all of the theory and the law that you learn and all the ways that you can get in trouble, inundate you with that at the real estate schools. So, and then you go to take the test, and then from the test is you're still just regurgitating all this stuff that you learn, that you've been exposed to from this real estate school. So now once you get your license and now it's time to start doing business, you're scared. They've implanted so much fear on the inside of you that you freeze. That most agents freeze. They get frozen up. So as a broker, one of the things that I first got to do is that I got to peel back those layers of fear and allow it to put it in perspective for you, so you can have that confidence and that security and find that comfort in the fact that you're not going to mess up, that you have that level of support. So without that in place, a brand new agent will not perform. Real estate is about confidence, right?
Not as tall as it was in Uncle House.
Because we understand that there's a level of activity that has to take place, what we decided to do as far as our programs is that we wanted to make it a safe place. And the way that you make it a safe place, as agents are building that confidence, building it up, finding that comfort so they can apply themselves at the level that they must apply themselves at if they're going to have any success in this business. While we're doing that and building that confidence up in them, we had to lay out a safety net, right? So it's kind of like when, trapeze artists, you guys are familiar with trapeze, right? Or the high wire. Well, what do they have under them? They have a net. So as they're learning, to do these identifying feats, well, while they're doing that, they got that safety net there. And because that safety net is there, then it gives them the confidence that they need to mentally focus and perform the task at hand. Well, that's what this is. It's a safety net. It's the Brooks & Davis safety net. It's our You Are Not Alone hotline, where regardless of what our agents are working on or who they're talking to, they have a phone number that they can call, and somebody's going to answer the phone. And this is in addition to my cell phone number, right? We created this hotline because not where we are right now, but where I know we're going. As we scale this company up, which is what we are aggressively in the process of doing, I'm not naive. I know I'm not enough, right? Of all the great things that I think about myself, right? I am not one to have a deficiency of ego, but I know that all human beings have a level of capacity. You're going to get tapped out. You're going to tap out. So because of that, we needed to create a system in-house that would ultimately duplicate what I personally offer right now, which is if agents call, I answer the phone, I take care of their problem, right? So our hotline is there, and it's between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. If an agent has a question, they're dealing with a situation, they're going to, an elite real estate broker or salesperson is going to pick that phone up, and they're going to answer that question. It's truly a hotline. And again, it's there to offer that undergirding level of support so that agent can have the confidence needed to perform at the level that they must perform at to have the results that we know that they want, right? No one gets into this business because they want to do it half-cocked. They get into this business because there's, again, a level of results that they are desiring, and because of those results, then that is what we want to ensure that we put in place to help people get there and experience those results. So we are able to do that through our agent hotline, right? You are not alone. All right, so now let us jump into our topic at hand. So now we have been, over the last 7 episodes, we've been looking at a 274-page deck that, and again, this guy's proven. Gary Vaynerchuk. If you go back to the very first episode in our series, which I believe is episode 38, where I showed you I gave you the credibility of this person. I'm all about credibility. So before I believe what you have to say, I got to check you out. I got to go and do some research, and I got to verify that you know what you're talking about. So we vetted this guy in episode 138, and he has multiple million of followers and engagements across multiple platforms, right? I'm not going to say it's easy to get 1 million followers on a platform. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of people doing that. But how many people have multiple millions of people on multiple platforms, right? And that's kind of what makes Gary Vee special. And that's why we decided to take this 270-page deck and break it up with a fine-tooth comb so we can all take our social media strategies to the next level. All right, so let's jump back in today. So the 2 things that we're going to look at today before we finish are podcasts, and we're going to look at polls. Podcasts and polls. So now, as many of you may know, Brooks and Davis, we have a podcast. It's called the Prime Real Estate Network. So shout out to Ricardo Davis. He's the host. He's also one of our agents. And Larry W. Brooks, the co-host. Co-founder Brooks and Davis is the co-host of that. So I definitely want to podcast. I want to plug so shout out to my minute. Okay, but yeah, I was saying about that. Now the one that he had to give me Gary Vee podcast is powerful because you can repurpose it into multiple different types of content. And this is this kind of is a repeat of what he said earlier, of an earlier session where he talked about repurposing long video. Taking long video, when we say long video, we're talking 30-minute, hour clips of video, and then taking them and chopping them up into smaller bits, like 1 to 2 minute clips that you can provide, you know, doses of this longer content to your audience, right? So that's what he's saying here again is podcasting is powerful because you can repurpose it in multiple different types of content. So he talks about first you've got the podcast itself, which is one piece of content. So as you have a podcast and as you have your episodes, well, that's a single piece of content that you can push through your social media platforms. Now, as we talk about platforms, YouTube is probably the biggest place that you're going to see podcasting. Now, he says, now you could also film the podcast while you're recording it, which will give you video content. So now Gary speaks to podcast. He's speaking from a standpoint of you got the audio component, you got the video component that now offers you, instead of one piece of content, it offers you multiple pieces of content, going with the audio and the video, right? So if you were to record it, and again, he places these videos on YouTube. All right, so now he says your guest is another arbitrage. If you have one, they could promote the content on their own channels and bring you more awareness. That's another great reason why you should have guests if you decide to go the route of podcast. Because what it does is that as that guest is on your show, as you encourage them to utilize the platform and the content that's been created, as you encourage them to utilize that to enhance their social media and digital presence, what it's going to do is it's going to provide more awareness to what you're doing and what you're doing as far as relates to your podcast. So now, obviously, Gary Vee knows some, high-level people. Well, the reality is that as a realtor, you can do something as simple as, say, the guests that you bring on are people that are in your sphere of influence. Hey, it could be the people that are actually doing the business that you do. So your guests could be lenders, they could be inspectors, they could be, electrical providers, salespeople, cable people. It could just be everyday people. And with these everyday people, in addition to people that have a level of influence, the point is you're expanding your reach by bringing on someone else to engage with you on the podcast, and it gives better content. People like seeing conversations. They like seeing individuals interact and engage versus, like for me, just seeing here and listening to me talk. It's a better experience as it relates to having guests. So, you can kind of hit it twofold by having guests. So now he says if you have the option, you can get your podcast transcribed by a writer and turn it into a blog, right? So now you can also create content from the podcast by taking what you're saying, get someone or some system to give you a written document of everything that you said on the podcast. That's what transcribe means. And then now you can take it and you can create you a whole nother social media platform by turning that into a blog, right? So, that's another way to create and put your digital content and digital strategy on steroids. So then he gives us some options of of simple ways to record. He says a simple way to record a podcast is an app called Anchor. So he gave a product placement as it relates to Anchor. It allows you to record and publish podcasts straight from your phone. All right, that's pretty sweet. Just navigate to the record screen, tap the button, it'll start recording automatically. So you can record straight from your phone. Once you've got your recording, you can add your title, description, details, and hit publish. And then you can publish on all major podcasting channels directly through the app. How crazy is that? right? How crazy is that through this app, Anchor, you can create you a podcast and you can post it directly through to all the major podcasting channels. I mean, that's bananas. That's how easy it is. So that's why the only thing that's stopping any of us from enhancing our social media is we just ain't trying. Because all it requires is creativity. I talk about this all the time. All throughout this series, I've been talking about this. It's all about being creative. Content is just about being creative. It's not about reinventing anything new. It's about accessing what you already do, because all of us have more than enough content that we can provide to the world that the world will pay attention to. We just have to take the time to really tap into that part of our minds and utilize our creativity to engage it. That's all we have to do. So here's a resource that Gary Vee's provided, this app Anchor, to where you can create podcasts straight from your phone. So now he talks about the views that he's gotten on the YouTube version and the listens that he's gotten on Apple Podcasts, but that's his podcast. And then he talks about the views that he got on the blog posted on the podcast about the podcast episode. So just from this one event, right? So we'll call the podcast an event, right? Just one moment. Say there's one moment of 30 minutes, okay? So you've sat down, and whether you have a guest or not, even if it's just you, but from this one event, you can have an audio platform and build out an audience that listens to it, just audio of it. You can record it and now have, again, the same event, have a video component of it, and maybe you put that on YouTube. So you got an audio component, you building an audio audience that listens to it. You got a video component, you're building a video audience that watches it, and you can transcribe it, again, the single event, and do a blog, and now have a blog audience that reads it. So you got an audience that hears it, listens to it, an audience that watches it, and an audience that reads it. Again, look at how you're enhancing yourself by offering that level of flexibility to the individual. And then you can work on growing each one of those audiences, but guess what? Using a single event, and you're able to create multiple content and multiple content platforms to utilize to continue to grow your reach, right? Because as a realtor, the more people that know about what you do, the greater chance you have to get business, to grow your business. So that's all that this is talking about, giving people a reason to pay attention, giving people a reason to take notice in who you are and what you do by just utilizing the content that you can create, you being yourself, and having fun while doing it. Let's have some fun, people. All right. So he talks about these platforms you can use it on: Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, LinkedIn, and your website. And remember, he's taking his tally of 6 pieces of content, and he says it takes about an hour or so, so get to record it. So now before we go to the next one, which is Pose, a point of transparency for me with the Create Your New Life, and I've really been thinking about this lately, is, there are things that we already do at Brooks and Davis, and we do them on a consistent basis, right? We have, obviously, the Prime Real Estate Network, which is something that we do, which we can utilize this strategy that Gary Vee talks about. We have the Create Your New Life, which we do, but we could enhance it through the podcasting piece and create that audio piece, as well as, the blog piece. So enhance those components. We have that. We have the Mastermind Through Tough Times. Again, we could create, incorporate the blog piece, the audio piece, as a way to, again, further enhance what we're already doing. So with us, Brooks and Davis, we already kind of have roots in some of the things. We just need to enhance it. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because of this. When I first started Create Your New Life about 4 years ago, I wasn't thinking that I was ever going to use it. I mean, honestly, I wasn't thinking that it was going to last as long as it lasted. I wasn't thinking that we was going to get to 144 episodes of this, of what we're doing here. It was just something that I felt made sense, and I had a story to tell, and I wanted to talk, right? And now, over these years, I truly have something that can further enhance our reach. Same thing with the Prime Real Estate Network. When they first started, I think they're on like episode 80. When they first started that, and they started bringing people on and bringing in guests and, having that platform and being able to grow it, you don't walk into it knowing the extent of which it will grow. So I say all that to say, just get started, right? That's what Gary Vee said right here. Get recording. Just decide. Make a decision. Choose. I'm going to add this to my strategy, right? That's something else that I know that you've heard me say throughout the series is you got to start with a strategy. You got to be creative, and you got to get a strategy. You got to get it on paper on how you're going, on what you want to achieve as it relates to these. What vehicles are you going to use to achieve it? The level of frequency that is going to go out, how you're going to capture and acquire the content that you're going to do, and then boom, you just begin to implement, right? So you decide, yeah, podcasting is one of the things that I want to add into my strategy, and then you get to recording, just like what the slide says here. You can do it. I mean, this is not requiring you to be a genius. I promise you it's not. It just requires you to decide, this is what I'm going to do. And then guess what? All of your learning, all of your growth, all of your experience comes along the journey, right? You're never going to know enough to feel comfortable to get started. You're not. You just got to get started. And this, matter of fact, it's a common message to new realtors. You're never going to know it. You're never going to feel comfortable enough knowing that thinking that you know enough to really get started. When you get started, when you make that first phone call and ask that first person, who do they know looking to buy a house, sell a house, or invest in real estate, or you hit that first DM in your social media asking that, or you send that first text, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel crazy uncomfortable. But you got to do it, and you got to keep doing it, and you got to keep doing it. No matter, you got to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, because that's what's going to be required for you to get the results and get a return on that activity. It's all about the activity. So don't grade the activity. That was a conversation that I had with a coaching, one of our coaching members last week, that you can't control the outcome. Don't grade yourself by the outcome. And what that means is that you can't control somebody having a real estate need. You reach out to 100 people and nobody responds. There ain't nothing you can do about that, because you can't control somebody having a real estate need. You can't even control somebody responding. So if nobody responds, so, why grade yourself on if you got results? Okay, I reached out to 100 people, nobody responded, so I get a 30. Or I get a 0. But that's not fair, because you can't control them responding. So we don't grade on results, we grade on activity, on the things that you can control. You can control whether you reach out to 10 people or if you reach out to 100 people. You can control that. So if you reach out to 10 people, you get a 30. You reach out to no people, you get a 0. You reach out to 100 people, you get 100, or 8. That's what we measure, activity. And then guess what? I've been in this business long enough to know, as long as you're doing the activity, the results are coming. It is guaranteed. I don't make many guarantees, but I guarantee that. As long as you're doing the activity, the results are coming. They are on the way. So it's all about the activity. So that's what we measure. All right. So the next thing is polls. Let's see what Gary Vee has to say about polls. Now he says you can create a poll on Facebook and ask people to choose between two different options. So here's an example right here on Facebook. And I want to say on Facebook it gives you, if you want to do the post, you want to do the poll, it gives you an option to where hey, I want to do a poll. So he says, which little used emoji should go viral? And he put yarn, he put crane. And then he did the poll, and it ends in 5 days. So he created the poll, did it in 5 days, and had over 11,000 votes. Now he said it could help you get more insights from the market and do research. Now he took that and he put super important around that, right? So now this is what, as you're beginning to be creative on designing and creating your social media strategy, what Gary is saying is that now polls are an opportunity for you to get feedback, right? So for instance, I'm in the process of doing a class, like coming up with a class. It's going to have 8 different modules. The title's called How to Have the Time of Your Life and Be a Realtor. Right, so that's the name of the class. 8 different modules, so it's coming down the pipeline. Well, as we were in the creation or the design stage for the class, as I'm thinking to see if this is something that's even relevant, or say I'm measuring the title that I want to come up with, that I want to use and see the effectiveness of it, I could do a poll in Facebook and ask my Facebook community to give me feedback as it relates to something that I'm trying to get figured out. So not only does it help me get insights, it also allows me to further nurture my community by asking for their feedback, right? And then also what it does is, especially if you're thinking about pricing and trying to determine a price or a time frame or a day, you can throw that poll in, throw a poll up, and see what kind of feedback that you get for your community, and they may be your early adopters. They may be your first customers, and it's because they were able to provide feedback to something that you were doing, right? So that's a way to be able to utilize polls. So yeah, so Gary shows us, when you're creating a post, hit polls as an option. Just add the copy. So add add a couple of options to choose between, and choose how long you want the poll to stay up. So it doesn't seem like it takes much. You can add, and look, you can add an image, add your verbiage, add an image or a GIF, and then you just put your time frame on how long you want the poll to be. Once you're done, hit publish. Boom, publish the poll. And then he says you can also create polls on Twitter. Which is the best title? See, so here's an example of what I was just talking about. Trying to see, and I guess this is for a book that he was writing. Right? So which is the best title? The game, not trophies. I don't know what IDJF is, but if I buy the Jets, trying to buy the Jets, the process not a trophy, right? So he talks about that on Twitter. He also says you can create a poll on Instagram stories, right? So there are 3 platforms, boom, that you can utilize to do this concept of what we're talking about as it relates to doing polls. He talks about his performance on Facebook. And it's about votes and votes on Twitter. So you can utilize polls for this. And then here's his performance on Instagram as it relates to polls. And that's another 3 pieces of content, and it takes 42 seconds. So that's very, very simple, running polls. So the 2 things that we talked about today were podcasts, and we talked about polls, P-O-L-L-S. And what I want to hear. So I got a couple of people that's on with me. No, I didn't. I thought I had a couple of people. All right. So what I would like to hear is people's thoughts around how they had accessed or how they had utilized podcasts, how they utilize polls to really enhance their social media presence. So now polls, to be candid, polls is not something that I've really kind of utilized in our social media, but as I'm even speaking, I'm thinking of ways to where we can utilize that resource, again, as a way to get market insight from our audience that we've already created, or we'll say our community that we've already created over all of these years. So as a way to get those market insights, and also as a way to have consistent engagement of your community and your audience, right? So polls is definitely something that here real soon I'm probably going to be utilizing as a way to offer exposure and get market insight. And then podcast, again, is something that we're already currently doing. So now it's about hearing what Gary Vaynerchuk says here. How can we take some of the elements that we hadn't really thought about or considered, take those elements and use them as a way to enhance the experience that we already have in place as it relates to the podcast piece that we're doing, right? So they were phenomenal. So these two are phenomenal additions to the other, 16 items that we've already talked about. So I was very grateful for Gary Vee for what he decided to do. All right. So it's just me solo dolo today. So I don't have any questions or any comments from my audience on today's session. So with that being said, there's no point belaboring the time. I'm going to wrap today's session up today. Now, next week, we are going to be dealing with the next portions of it. So I think we're going to be looking at TikTok clips next week. So, you know, as some of you all may know, I did my journey of getting on TikTok and I documented it. But man, TikTok take a lot of time. So I gotta figure it, you know, approach it from a different angle. But Gary Vee has an opinion around TikTok, and we're gonna see what Gary Vee has to say as it relates to TikTok. So that's something that we're gonna be looking at on next week. All right. So with that being said, let me jump back into our slide presentation. All right, so I always like to end with a reminder, a couple of reminders. One is that we offer CE credit, an hour of CE credit. All our agents have to do is those 4 things, and then they can get at least an hour of continuing education credit, elective credit, by taking part in the Create Your New Life. Also, if you're with a company and you're not getting the level of nurturing and you're not getting the level of attention that you know if you were getting it, you could really move your real estate business at a different pace, at a greater pace, faster pace, for you to be able to achieve things that you want to achieve, then I highly encourage you to click on that link and let's schedule an in-person or online company introduction so you can learn about the better options that we offer as a real estate company that are available to, in addition to the things that we offer just to the marketplace, right? We want to see ourselves as a value to the real estate marketplace, the real estate industry. But in addition to that, there's so much value that we bring to our agent members and people that are part of our organization, and we want to share that with you. We want to talk to you about it. So click on that link and gain you some exposure from that standpoint. And then, follow us on the social media. Clearly, that's something that we feel is extremely important. This is social media. I mean, in the end, we're going to end up taking about 10 weeks just really looking at how to enhance and grow a social media presence. So you can clearly see that we hold a lot of weight in social media. So we're already there. It's a great way to stay connected, a great way to get informed about what we have to offer or what we bring. So highly encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel, like our Facebook page, and connect with us and just kind of share in life with us here at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. All right, with that being said, it's time to cue the music because...
Shall we begin?
No, it is time to go. It is time to go. Another great Create Your New Life in the book. We talked about 2 P's that will take your social media strategy to the next level. That's polls and podcasts. We also talked about what's important about exceeding the expectations of multiple people when practicing in real estate. And then we highlighted a Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm resource that allows our agent members to never be on their own in this real estate business. So it was a joy, it was a pleasure. You guys continue to love this beautiful weather. I know we had a whole lot of rain we're dealing with, but now we got some sun. Y'all go out there and enjoy it. Shout out to my mini-me. Today's his birthday. So we about to go celebrate with my man, August 4th. A great day in my life. So shout out Michael G. Davis Jr. Happy birthday, bro. I'm about to come hang out with you for the rest of the day. With that being said, I'm your host, Michael G. Davis, broker, CEO, Realtor Plus Business Coach, Senior Coach here at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Looking forward to coach you into the cosmos. It's time to take off, baby. Y'all have a great one. Peace. This is not a joke.